Welcome to Stallion Confidential. I'm actually really excited about today's guest, and I think we're going to talk about stuff that has never been talked about anywhere you go, and I can guarantee you this. You want to know? Are you excited? Are you? You sure? Okay, let's do it. Today's guest, he's a part philosopher, a part savage. A man who's danced through heartbreak, dominating the dating game and game of life, and came out with wisdom you can't Google. He's been the player of life, the coach, the ghost, and now he's something rarer. A man who chose real love and still hasn't lost his edge. He's an artist, a sailor, an image consultant, a dating strategist who disappeared from the market just when everyone started following him. And trust me, that was no accident. If you think you've heard it all, buckle up. This isn't about tactics. This is about transformation, masculinity, betrayal, game, brotherhood, and why most men are still living like NPCs in their own lives without any meaning of what is their life's path. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the mind of unpredictable, the unforgettable, the unapologetic, Ty Vasquez.
AJ, that's high praise.
I hope you have goosebumps.
Yeah, you see him right now? Look at my hands, they're shaking. Thank you for the invitation to your wonderful home and this interview. And I've been knowing you for a couple of years now.
Yes.
What, 2-3 years?
Yeah, about that.
We've really molded together and became great friends. And recently I had something going on with my dog, and you were there for me. So to the audience, find friends like this guy, loyal friendships. I think having masculine brotherhood like AJ here you can't find it. So I'm very grateful for you. And thank you for the introduction. Appreciate that.
Pleasure's mine. Well, Ty, tell us and our audience, where can they find you? And what do you exactly do? Like, why do people follow you? And if they do, what value they get out of you?
Absolutely. Yeah, so you can find me primarily on Instagram. It's Clark Kent Wears Glasses. And that name came from years ago. People apparently think I look like Superman. So
you definitely
kind of stuck with it. And then I do have my website. It is instagq.com. So you can find me there, and we can get set up and have some one-on-one coaching, and we can get you on the right path to find your true love.
Well, none of you, I bet most of you don't know what that means. And don't worry, we got you. Big brothers, we got you. Ty, so what's one lesson you learned the hard way in dating world and that every young man needs to hear right now? The voice.
Okay, so one lesson. Well, right now, like you mentioned, I'm in a very loving relationship and things are going great. So that's another topic we can talk about as far as going through life, and especially during this current dating world, right? Like you're meeting people, and what do you meet them for, right? You're attracted to them, just like in the animal kingdom. You meet someone, oh, you're attractive.
Yeah.
But how long is it really going to last for? And, people are going to live a long life. You're going to live a long life. You're a big guy. You probably eat, 2 hamburgers for breakfast and six at dinner.
Well, not that much, maybe on Sundays.
Right? But the dating game has changed, and also how long we're going to live for. So I think we're going to live longer, and the people we're going to spend our time with, it's a pretty big commitment, especially the way you want to live your life. And to get back to your question, the number one thing that I've learned is take your time, be patient.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think, especially now, there are so many pitfalls, because you always hear about people saying, oh, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to go on monk mode, right? I think that's totally fine. Focus on your goals and your aspirations. But I think it's good to understand the dating game, understand the perspectives of men and women. And if you find something that you like, or you're ready to take this time, like this year I'm going to work, next year I'm going to look for dating, right? But I think it goes twofold. I think it's very dangerous to just say I'm gonna only work for 5-10 years and then I'll meet someone, or the reciprocal. I'm going to just date all for 5 years or 2 years, and then I'll start working.
Yeah.
It's very dangerous to do that. So I think it's important to have a game plan, like yourself. You're a man of many talents, and you're very strategic. And so to your audience who watches AJ, this guy's like on it. He's always strategic. He has his goals and his lists. He's knocking them out. And I see his list, and I'm like, man, I gotta beat this guy.
Yeah, and the only way I learned it from, the only person I learned it from is Ty Vasquez, and I think this man has a great influence over my life in various different factors, and today we're gonna know how. But as you're talking about, like, okay, this year I'm gonna work, next year I'm gonna probably look for a relationship. But isn't it like the law of the universe that when you start looking for something, it start running away from you? And when you don't expect anything, especially in terms of relationship and dating, they just show up. They just come right up to you. And most of the stories I've heard, just dating and like love stories and whatever, people 95% of the time say, "Oh, I was expecting it the least."
I believe that.
Why is that?
100%. I think because if you really are a genuine person, and I believe in karma, I believe in good energy, right? And I think that if you're really putting that into the universe, if you're really giving more than you're taking, something's gonna come your way. And if you're meeting someone, like when I met my girl, I really felt that energy, right? And she told me that when we first met, that I had this like aura about me. She seen me and she said that she got nervous. She told me that I had this aura about me because I was walking so confidently, right? And I think that's a good point too, is about really having a good center for yourself. And even when we talk, we have good chemistry. We've never had an argument, like a serious, like none at all. And if we do, we'll talk about it, like men. But I think it's important to meet people in this world where you don't have to walk on eggshells. You can really just talk about anything, and you can kind of feel if it's a little sensitive. Like when we were boxing, I'm like, AJ, get over here. You kept moving around. Then I finally got you. Yeah. But I took all those hits from you.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is like we were gauging each other's energy. And so like when I met my girl, it was very fluid. It was very, very warm.
It wasn't like you were pushing it. But it just happened naturally.
Yeah. So again, to your question, how does that happen naturally? I think if you focus on your internal self and your goals, and if you have a higher power, like, I grew up as a Christian, and whatever higher power it is, if it's positive, I feel that, this is the thing, I feel that if anything enters your orbit, so imagine you're chilling here, right? Yeah. And you have this like bubble around us, and you feel this like a fly flying around, and it comes into your orbit. You're like, what's going on here? Like my chi is all here. Something's interrupting something. You flick it out. Same thing with people you meet, the gut feeling, enter your aura, shake someone's hand. I feel that I'm very tuned to like negative energy. So, you have to learn though from experience. But when I met, my love, I didn't have to think about any of that. It was so fluid.
Interesting. So, yeah, and also I believe like there's a way of universe of bringing people into your life when I believe you're ready for it. Because when you're desperately chasing something, then that defines itself. You're chasing something that's running away from you, if you see what I mean. And when you're like, well, I think I am the person who is willing and who is worth dating, and a man especially who his woman can look up to, the universe will show you ways and open doors for you in ways that you never imagined. So I completely agree with what you're saying. So Ty, what's the biggest lie modern men are believing about dating today?
The biggest lie. I think the biggest lie that, as far as dating, is that I think it's a twofold question. I think people may think it's impossible to find true love. And then I think two, I think everyone thinks that only a certain caliber of person is getting what they want, getting love. So I think the first one is that it's out there. It just you need to, again, center yourself and it'll come your way. But also you need to, when I say work on yourself, like look in the mirror. Would you date yourself?
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
So if you got a big old belly or things are missing,
Yes.
I like to. We met when we were in Vegas. You and me. We met Wem, right? And I talked to him for a bit, and he was an awesome person to meet. Because he actually met Mystery. He helped Mystery write the book.
Yeah.
So I was like, super awesome. We got a photo together, and I was talking to him about one thing he mentioned was like, we're building our characters, but I like to view it as a game, right? And I'm a big nerd. I grew up playing lots of games when I was younger, fighting games, etc. But you're building your character. It's like, okay, my character has good eyebrows, or he's super smart. He reads a lot, or he works out a lot. He likes to go fishing, whatever. Build these things up that you really enjoy, but also things that you need to have as a man. So as far as yourself, like if you really love, look at your arms. Your arms big, work on your arms, right? If you need to work on your speech, for example, when I was younger, I had a really bad stutter. No one knows this, but I put it out there because these things bothered me. So what I do, I read a lot. I did a lot of programs. I started to speak slower because sometimes I get really excited. So things like that, I worked on it, and now I'm better at that, right? So I think there is true love out there, but I really think you need to work on yourself because these people that are viewed as like higher echelon, like yourself, you have a pretty luxurious lifestyle. You drive what you want, you go places, etc. But you didn't just, it wasn't fed to you like on a silver spoon, like not like King Solomon or King David. You actually work for things. You're going to school now too, right? So you're doing all these different things to build yourself, and you're meeting partners that are really on your level.
Yeah.
Right? And so when the outside world looks at it, it's like, oh, there's no love. Oh, AJ only gets to see this person because of this, and that. No, he really worked on that. He looked himself in the mirror. And do you think it's easy to work out every day, to go to school, to do all these different things? No. Yeah. If it was easy, then, everyone would have it. But just like, people we know, our commander said, if it's hard, then we want what's hard. We want to get the benefit and the reward of what's hard. So,
correct. I totally believe that. And to add on to that, out of curiosity, how did you work on your stutter? Like, so I want to connect it back to like, okay, something you were missing, you weren't given it, and you had to build it. But tell our audience who wants to build it, but they keep falling off because they want to probably go to the gym, probably start approaching women or talk to them, or probably like pick a new hobby up, but they can't stay consistent. So probably some of them who are watching, and yeah, so I'm talking to all of you. You're not even taking first step towards what do you actually need to do. You know what you need to do. They all know. You knew what you need to work on, which was your stutter and probably your physique and probably your game or probably finances and so on and so forth. What was the changing factor in your life? You decided, today's a day, I'll take first step towards this direction and just put my head down and just keep moving.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think there's no defining moment. It's when I was initially, when, I was born. Like, I've always been put into scenarios, and whether it's, my internal compass, my morals, I've always made the right decision because I had a fear of God, right? And I think that moral compass has really propelled and benefited me. So, for example, I've been in situations where it's like sports or theater, for example.
Yeah.
I think a big reason is that my father is really shy. He's like a shy person, and there's like a whole backstory behind why that is. But I grew up pretty shy too. And surprisingly, now I'm not too shy. I can talk to people, I can give speeches, etc. And a big defining moment, like you said, was you really have to like look at your life like, I'm breathing, I'm alive. Pinch yourself, whatever you gotta do. Like, this is, You only have one life. One life. There's no restarting. You can go back and look at the past, but there's literally one life. So today, it's like, do I drive, 2.5 hours to come see you? Yeah, because it'd be worth it. Or I could say, no, AJ, I'm just gonna go home and do this instead.
Yeah.
But again, I made a choice. When I was doing like track and field, right? I was a freshman, and they put me in varsity pretty early, right? Because I was pretty tall. I'm still tall, and I'm like, hey, I'm with these older gentlemen, seniors, these big guys, and I gotta make sure I do this race. And so it all comes down to just making that binary choice, the best choice you can, and giving your best. Because if I made a choice and it was half effort, then was it really a good choice? Right? So I remember two things. The track, I had to do a 4x4. So it's one lap, it's 400 meters, and they gave you the baton. So I remember I went first, and what happened was we had a dirt track, and we had these blocks. You put the blocks in the ground, and you have these nails. They're like this big. You hammer them in. So I was hammering them in, and my entire class, the people, my team, they're like, "Go, Tyler!" Right? I'm like, "Yeah, I got this." Right? I'm wearing my varsity outfit, and I'm hammering it, and I hit it once, boom, hit it twice, and I swear, like my thumb was about to fall off. I hit it so hard, instantly my thumb turned black and blue. But I looked at it, no problem. Did the race, and as I was running, I blitzed it, ran, did a little stride, and then I blitzed at the end. And I remember before the last 20 meters, I seen someone behind me, and I didn't look back. I felt energy. Everyone was yelling at me, go Tyler, you got this. And I just gave everything I could, and my body started going like in slow motion. It's weird. I was like going through like water through space, and like, what is going on? But I finished the race, and obviously, your boy won, right?
Yeah.
But I remember that moment because that was one of the times where my family, I think they came, but I really gave it my all. And I'm like, that's what it feels like to give your all, right? You're really pushing yourself, and to the point where you're going through a new experience, because the unknownness can be scary. I didn't know that I was going to feel all like loopy and at the end, but to this day, I remember that, right? Also, because I'm tall, I got selected for a lot of things, sports or theater, for example, right? And to go back to when I had that stutter, of course they put me in theater, right? Here, read this monologue. I'm like, oh man, can I like read this over, please?
Yeah, memorize it.
Right? So I'm doing this theater, and I realized that I'm really good at like memorizing lines. And I guess I'm pretty funny, charismatic, right?
Yeah.
So I remember doing this, and people were like, oh, they're laughing, or they liked it. And I kind of felt a sense of pride and accomplishment.
Yeah.
So I just practiced more, and then I ended up doing beginner, intro, and then advanced theater. I did a musical where I was singing on stage, right?
Dang, I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I think the moral story, to go back to your question, is how to, like, I practice or work on that major thing.
Yeah.
And I think that was also hereditary. Perhaps those things don't pass over, but my father had it really bad.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So again, I didn't want to have that. I don't want to have these certain things, right? Like if you had a bald spot, like go to get taken care of, right? If you have something that you don't like, do whatever you can to fix it. So I did that, and it's one of the best things ever. So
Proud of you for that one. I'm sure you were proud of yourself now that you've come a long way from that. And you look back and you are grateful that you were able to do these things, and you don't regret any bit of it, even though it was hard. So that's a lesson for you all. Just go. Just throw yourself into whatever you think you need to do, because I can guarantee you all know what you need to do, but you're just procrastinating. It's all about that one little leap. Trust me. What would you say that is your biggest green flag that you see in yourself, that you think is a green flag if you perceive yourself, Ty, from a third person's perspective.
Is it from a male perspective, like yours?
Like me,
female?
or like the world's perspective, which is not you.
A green flag, easy. I'm super loyal. As we talked about this,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I'm not just saying that to say it. I enjoy having like tight knit friends, right? And I don't need 100 friends. I just need a few. But I think it's not so much as loyalty, etc., which is obviously we care about that a lot.
Yeah.
It's more so my word, like shame.
Yeah.
Right. I don't feel a lot of people have shame anymore. Right.
Give us an example. What do you mean?
Like if I didn't come, I told you I'm coming, and it didn't come.
Okay.
I'll feel bad.
Not being a man of your word, like not sticking to your word. Yes.
And so
for sure,
I think having a repercussion for yourself before we're in school, or if you drive too fast, you get pulled over. That's a repercussion.
Yeah.
Or if you're in school and you cheat on an exam or you don't do your homework, you'll get slapped on the wrist, whatever. But as you get older, we don't have like someone to tell us what to do in general.
Someone to hold us accountable.
In general, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to have like a moral high ground, moral compass, because having something like that, it's like, I don't want to make my father angry. Also for yourself too, like you work out hard. It's like, do I really want? I worked out super hard. Yeah. Now do I want to eat all this greasy food? Yeah. Unless you deserve it.
Yeah.
You're doing yourself a disfavor, right? So I think you have yourself, and then you have like your spirit aura. It's like, why do you want to harm your body? Why do you want to do drugs to harm this man that was given to you? You're gifted. You're genuinely, you were brought to this earth. You have all these different things. Why do you want to harm yourself? So I think harming yourself, shame, words, they all matter.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And what's the most toxic trait that you think other people think about you?
That's a good question, AJ. Yeah, a commercial? Intermission? Toxic. Wow.
I'll tell you mine. Okay, if that makes you feel comfortable. Give me. For me, let's say if it comes down to, I cannot stay in in groups for so long. Let's say if we were hanging out for like 8-10 hours, I would need a little time by myself, and I'll just start to get cranky and emotional, and I just might respond to you in a way that you might think, oh damn, bro, you got an attitude now. Like even among my family, I just distance myself. Like if I'm out, like all of that. So I get super heightened. I don't know why. So
I don't think that's toxic though.
I mean, maybe like people. That's what I think. Like it's whatever I think.
Not toxic.
That's
AJ. I know you have toxic traits. That's not one of them. Give me another one.
Another one. Let's see.
Maybe you drive too fast.
Nah,
up on these hills.
Nah, I drive people crazy. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think from an outsider's perspective, how about we do this? I'll give you what I believe might be yours. I think meeting you have a very dominant, like, on that movie with
James Bond. Oh wait, what?
Of course, James Bond.
Okay,
of course,
okay.
yeah.
I just had to sneak
James
that.
Bond.
I just had to sneak that one.
The villain with the teeth, the golden teeth. No. Beauty and the Beast. Gaston.
Yes. Yeah,
Gaston.
Yeah.
I like Gaston.
Yeah.
Right? I actually think he's the hero.
Yeah.
That's another story. Gaston's the hero. Beast is like a Stockholm Syndrome person trying to, take Belle. But Gaston, his personality trait, it's kind of like yours. And kind of like mine. Right? But I think I'm more mellow. You, though, you're very...
I'm all over the place.
In your face, and you're a young guy.
Yeah.
I still don't believe that, though. I think you're not 21. You got to give me your birth certificate.
We'll do that.
This guy is like this tall over me. And I'm like 6'4". You must be like 7 foot. You're like a Nephilim.
No.
Anyways, I think that your personality can come across as toxic. But for me, it's not. You're a man that knows what he wants, and you're very assertive.
Yeah.
So I think in this world, especially with your business, teaching young men, lifestyle and how to navigate this world we live in, I think it's super important. Your niche is super important because these guys don't really understand how to adopt or how to express themselves, their masculine essence, right? So you come along and you say, hey, get to work or do push-ups, whatever. It's like, this guy's being mean to me.
Okay, now that you talk about it.
But it's coming out of love, though.
Yeah. I'm harsh in my approach. If it's my girl or like my cousin that I want something to do or someone to do, like if I'm really, really close to you, like just basically anyone, I might come off as too bossy, as in, oh, you're like, what the fuck, bro? Like you could have said it better, if that makes sense. That's like using choice of words. That's for me, but I'm not like letting you dodge that question, so you have to answer it for yourself. Toxic trait.
I have to answer myself.
Yeah.
Okay. I think sometimes I get in my head too much, right? Get into my head too much.
Okay.
Like I may, if I get a little heated.
Yeah.
I'm not the type of person that's very chill and mellow, but I might marinate whatever happened.
Yeah,
you know, I don't like holding grudges, but I feel like that's one of the toxic trait I'm kind of working on. Is, you know, I get really quiet sometimes. Like, okay, what's really going on?
That's good.
You know, but I also think it's also a skill too, because something happened, unless it's super, you know, chaotic, then you and me, we're gonna act out and knock someone out.
Yeah.
Right. But if it's something a more play on words, I'll think about it and then I'll give a response.
Yeah.
The other day I was reading Ecclesiastes about King Solomon, and I'm sure you've.
I've heard about it. I've not read.
One of my favorite chapters. It's in Judges, I believe. No, it's in Ecclesiastes. Judges with Samson, but in Ecclesiastes talks about King Solomon. Now, King Solomon was fed a little bit of a silver spoon because his dad, King David, was the king, right? But what's interesting, he goes back to wisdom and making sure you're not reacting so fast. So that's why sometimes I get in my head sometimes, but I'm just trying to be wise. So there's a part in Ecclesiastes, things like chapter 18, where he's sleeping and just kind of like this, kind of like your room, you know, with the drapes and the pillow. And the pillow pet and your water. Teasing you. But he's sleeping, right? And God comes to him in a dream. And he's like, you know, Solomon, I'll grant you anything you want. And so Solomon's thinking, and so imagine God can really tap into your heart, into your thinking process. He can look into what you're thinking about, your desires. So you can't hide anything from him.
Yeah.
Right? You can't hide it.
Yeah.
So he just says to grant him wisdom for judicial matters.
Okay, yes.
Right?
One thing you could ever wish for.
And so God's like, okay, like this guy's cool, right? He's like, you know, Solomon's cool. He's tight. So he said, I'm going to grant you wisdom. You'll be like no other king in existence. But because you didn't ask for money or long life or the death of your enemies, I'm going to give you all that. So he really said, here's your wisdom. Boom, you're going to give a long life. You're going to be super rich, and there's going to be no one like you before, right? So I think going back to, you know, me taking some time to think, I think I'm going to get better at making quicker decisions, but I also think it's a good trait to have, a good quality to have when there's situations that come your way.
Yeah.
So, you know, my answer.
Makes sense. That was nice. Smooth, I'd say. So, what's the biggest lie? Oh, actually, we've been through that one.
That was a lie.
Can you tell? No. If you could speak to an 18-year-old self of yourself, like if you can talk to your 18-year-old self, what would you warn him about?
Warn him about? Yeah, I would think I would tell him to warn him. Make sure he takes care of his health and his body, right? That's a big thing. And I think warning him would be not taking the risk, right? Because all the times I've taken risk, it's really been a character change. And I know that we both know, being a man, most of the big decisions and things that have really propelled us and got us to this point have been through some sort of pain, right? But I think it's important to choose the right pain. So I would tell my younger self, warn him, you're going to go through pain, Tyler, but make sure you choose the right pain. Because that's what's going to matter the most.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, some of you are already 18 and watching. That's some free advice for you. What's one thing that every young man should be like, should stop apologizing for?
Being confident.
Right?
Especially, I get called, all the time.
Yeah.
A-hole. Get that out. Right? I get called that all the time. Or if you just met me on paper before meeting in person, whether it's Facebook or social media, oh, this guy looks a little uppity. Or even if you and me or we're just at a restaurant, someone looks at us, oh, those guys look a little, they have a big chip on their shoulder. But I think it's super important to have that, is the confidence, But you can be a genuinely sweet person but have massive confidence. I think if you can tie the two, confident but genuinely sincere and sweet, then you're not a pushover.
Yeah.
Right? So if someone comes to you, a waiter, and you want a Coke and they give you a Pepsi, most people think, oh, this guy's going to be like, oh, get that out of here. I want a Coke. Fire this person.
Okay.
No, you'd be like, hey, I appreciate this, but do you mind giving me a Coke? I don't want a Pepsi.
Yeah.
So that's being supremely confident in yourself and loving yourself. And I think being confident is really, like I said, loving yourself. And in the scriptures, it talks about you need to really love yourself before you can love another one, right? Even with women, treat your body as you treat your partner, right? So the confidence is key.
But why is it demonized in today's society? Like, even from my experience, I'd say I go around, especially my generation, and when you come off as confident, that like people around you tend to think that, oh, this man's too desperate, or he's trying to cope for something he didn't had as a kid, because it's that toxic. Let's say if a man drives a big truck, oh, he's trying to cope with something small in his pants, some BS like that. Like, but like the people are trying to hate on each other to the point when they should be supporting and they should be encouraged and they should be inspired to do some things in their own lives. As in, oh, if you a person, let's say we're listening to Ty right now, like he's a very gracious, calm, like soft, sensitive, like in a way that he's confident in himself and he knows who he is. You don't need to look like or act like or talk like all of these influences you're looking at. Like basically just find yourself first. Then only the doors are going to open for you when you know who you are, and then you can embrace who you are rather than you trying to put up a mask. That brings me on to my next question. Like, why do men lie to get laid?
I think you have to extrapolate it in a different context. Like, why are men lying to meet people, right? Because everyone has different desires. It's not just for sexual encounters. It could be just for a companion, right? So why are men lying to meet people? I think it's, if you break it down to like human nature, I think withholding pertinent information is something that you should tell the other person, right? Like, oh, I'm dating you because of this, or I have 3 kids, right? But I would say 2 things. One, why are men lying? Because men are desperate.
Yeah.
Right? Because why? They're not working on themselves. That's it. That's the real answer. But I think you don't have to lie to someone. I think that's just take that out of your vocabulary. Like, it's not a good trait to have.
Correct.
But you can withhold certain information. For example, if someone's saying, oh, when you first meet someone, it's like, oh, what do you work at, etc. You can be vague. I think being vague is totally fine.
Yeah.
Because we need to protect ourselves, our information, where we're at. When you're meeting someone, whether it's for social business or a relationship, you be careful because you carry that back home, right? Family, friends, where you're at. So I think it's smart to be a little vague and when you're initially meeting someone. And over time, then you can lay it out there, right? But that's the answer as far as, men lying, like they're desperate. And I think if they focus on like your game on your YouTube channel, what's your channel? The AJ Confidential?
Stallion, yeah.
Stallion,
Yeah,
of course,
yeah.
because you're a stallion, right? So I think if they focus on things like that,
Yeah.
they're like, okay, I don't need to lie. I think if you're lying, you're actually lying to yourself, right?
Yeah.
That's in essence, you're lying to yourself. So why do you want to go walk through life lying? Don't you want to walk around, be confident, and be honest with yourself?
Makes sense.
Wake up in the morning, say I'm this and that, love myself, etc. But if you start saying those things, that bad energy, it's only going to end bad.
So it's better to gatekeep than give totally incorrect information than give less information about yourself when you're in the dating market. I mean, when you're when you're socializing,
Exactly. Yes.
Makes sense. I see. But then where does this phrase come from? Oh, fake it until you make it. Like maybe you're on a stage, you're giving a public speaking speech, you're doing a public speaking event, and you're giving a speech.
I've heard that phrase, and I think just me thinking about it now, I think there's some truth to it, but I don't quite like it. I think if, for example, if you're going on stage and you're very nervous about giving a speech,
yeah,
and you go on there and you give your best and you give a speech, you're telling yourself, okay, I'm gonna fake what I'm doing. I'm gonna just say whatever. You're really trying though. So are you really faking it? But maybe you're giving me another question as far as like owning certain things. Like I own this car and I'm faking, I'm posting online.
yeah,
It's not gonna end well. It's not gonna end well.
yeah.
So let those guys do that. Let those girls do that, right? Let them all do that and push them aside. Because over time, people are gonna see through the BS.
Good approach. I see. Did you ever had to walk away from someone you loved or admired to save yourself?
Yeah, I can say, I'm not going to get into too much detail, but it's a family member of mine, and I love this person.
Yeah.
But it came to a point where, maybe in the future things will work out, but it was affecting my life and the way that I'm trying to go. Right? It's like I'm on this path, this river, we're going this way, and there's rocks between it, and we already have a difficult time navigating life. So when someone comes in, they love you, but maybe that love is coming from a different place. Maybe they're trying to extract things from you, right? And maybe they don't have something that's fully built. Maybe they don't have a fully built, moral compass, or maybe they have things that they're lacking on. So, I had to take some time and say these things. And I think a lot of times when you're walking away from someone or just taking a break, right? It's important to be firm and confident. Right? Be firm and confident and say what you mean and say, you know what, I'm taking a break until this is complete on your end, then we can meet. Yeah. But we're not going to have this back and forth. So I think that's important to have and set boundaries. Yeah.
Why do people, like men or a woman, I mean, you can speak for the people, struggle to put boundaries down? Would it be like because they haven't figured themselves out yet, or they're too afraid to see and stand on what they believe in because that might cost them the other person or their loyalty, friendship, relationship? What it could be?
I think those are excellent points, and I agree with those. I also think there's a third option where it's just people don't want to see or feel pain. Right? Because, for example, if I have something going on with someone, with a business partner or a relationship, and I know that whatever happened is gonna affect me personally or where I'm going, me just saying the words, hey, it's not gonna work out, or hey, you need to take some time. Just saying those words, it's hurtful. I think because we're human beings, and when we meet someone, friends, family, or relationship, it should technically be forever. For me, that's how it is for me, right? Like when I meet you me. In my mind, my world, my reality, right? Horoscopes, astrology, my reality, right, is that we're friends forever, and I want to keep it that way. But if something comes along the line and we address it, but it's not being taken care of, then I'm gonna say, hey, this is what's going on, and we can't come to a conclusion. Then at that point, I'm gonna have to just say it. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt me or you or both of us.
Yeah.
And I think that pain is scary.
Yeah.
But I also think it's a character building moment. It can be refreshing in a way where you look back and you're like, I'm glad I told him that. I'm glad I told her these things. And I also believe that by saying that, it can make or break. I think either it'll take some time or it'll make the relationship even better. Like, hey, AJ, I don't like that you give me only one water bottle and no coffee.
Yeah.
And then next time, we have a scuffle, box it out, right? And then you bring us coffee. And they're like, bro, you can get it for me. Look, no, I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah.
So the relationship amplifies.
Makes sense.
And yeah, I think that's a beautiful thing.
That's a great way to put it. That's what she said. What would you say? What's more important, power, purpose, or peace?
I think purpose for me, coming from my background, is the whole obligation of man is to serve something, right? Having that purpose for me personally is I know why I'm here, and I know that I have to get back, pray every day, and just live a overall healthy, positive, morally fit life.
And how would you rank them if you have to? Like, why is purpose on top of the list for you among these three, and why power and peace is beneath that?
I think yours is power, number one.
I think purpose drives power. Like, okay. I think any man who has a purpose is aiming towards power in one way or the other, but not linearly, but in a way that
I agree. Yeah. So I think purpose, right, is important. I wake up in the morning, my nerves are going, I'm tingly, and I get to breathe. Like, where is this all coming from? I feel it's deeply selfish to just live your life and not have a purpose. People that, commit, and they take themselves out of life, I don't think they really value their life or the value. If they had a purpose, they probably wouldn't have done that, right? Whether it's a higher power or my purpose here is to take care of my family or take care of the world. Having that purpose, it literally drives everything, right? And I'm sure, talk to Cole. You had Cole in the last podcast. Where does energy come from, right? Energy, right? It can't be destroyed, right? So it's transferred. So just going outside in the sun, you're getting energy from the sun. Boom, or from a higher power, and you're charged, and now you have power, right? Now you're powered up, and now you can use that power to solve issues, whether it's fighting your enemies, right? Like Conan is like, what's the whole purpose of life? That's what he said.
Correct.
He said to crush your enemies, to see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of the woman.
Yes.
Right? So he even said it, right? So the power. Once you do all that, then you come home, and now what? You have peace.
Define manhood in one sentence if you have to. What is manhood, being in your own masculine? And how have people, or this young generation, has figured it all out wrong?
I think manhood for me is accountability. And I'm sure I could pull a different phrase out, but I think accountability is really, it's not about, oh, I'm the man, I'm strong now, or I can take care of this and that. I think it's really about learning how to take problems and accept it, right? No one wants to be with someone that's a pushover. Oh, that's not my fault. That's not my fault. I think being a man is really understanding that now I'm an adult, I have these issues, I got family to feed, I got this and that, bills to pay, and being accountable, just like shame, is going to propel you to everything else. I'm accountable to myself because I need to make sure I get my prayer and make sure I get my workout and make sure I take care of my family, my girlfriend, right? So for me, that would be accountability. How about yourself?
Manhood. I say being a person of high value to people around you, as in you should be the abundance of light that it flows through you towards other people. So it could be in various different factors. Maybe you bring joy in someone's life. Maybe you provide financially for someone. Maybe you can help them out and put them on some place that they might be stuck at. You can get people out of trouble and get people known in a way that, oh, if I have no one, I have this guy, and I just know like he'll take care of me. So being abundance of light for me is number one.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page.
About the same, yeah. So
like I'm accountable for myself. I'm accountable for making sure I get this done. Right? I would feel too much shame to look in the mirror and look at a 500-pound man.
Correct.
Right? I would feel too much shame to see my girl go through this trauma. Whatever.
Yeah.
Right? But no, I appreciate that answer.
Yeah. Likewise. Would you like we should ask this first. Would you like to have kids one day?
Absolutely.
You're a family man, and I know like how you close you are with your family. And if you get to it, like start popping them up. You want as many as you can.
Yeah, actually, we can go into the astrology or the numerology aspect.
Oh, wow.
You actually met the Gary V.
Yeah, I met the
not Gary V. It was Gary Numbers guy.
GG33, Gary Grinberg.
There we go.
Yeah, he's the OG numerology guy, and especially I'd say to people like, okay, I met this person, and people hate him a lot because he talks against religion, he talks against certain beliefs, this and that. But I actually met him. I shook hands with him. But actually, if you want to have an opinion on a person, meet them in person. I met this guy. Besides number, if you put his whole teachings aside, I think that man has true knowledge about what it actually means to be spiritual.
Like aura, true aura?
About spirituality. His game isn't like acting like these influences with cars and baddies and this and that. He's a family man. He has 2 kids and a wife.
Yeah. So, I actually looked up his videos before you wouldn't have seen him.
Yeah.
But my life path number, you know what it is?
Tell the audience.
Yeah, so it's very... I was kind of bewildered. That's a good word, bewildered, about what I found out. I'm like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So I did the whole math, and my brother's a 5.
Yeah.
Right? I'm a 6.
Yeah.
And my older cousin is like a brother. He's a 7. With different birthdays.
Yeah.
It's an order. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But my life path number is a 6, which means family man.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, of course, I'm a family man.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I want.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and answer your question. We can get more into that, but I think life is vaporous if you're just out here, living life and not making more of yourself, right? I think it's funny. I think a lot of people the people that should have children, like yourself, should be making them. Don't you want these, 7-foot giants walking around, right? Good looking, helping out people, helping granny across the street, right? Their groceries. Like, I'll take 2. Boom, boom, right? So I think people like you and me should be populating the earth, right? Find the right woman, right? Or yourself, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's a great question to ask yourself. Do you want children? Yes. And then if so, when?
Yeah, so I was going to come to that. So if you had a son in the future, which I'm sure you will, and he's watching this podcast, what would you want him to learn from you?
Great question. My mother said that I would have a daughter first. So if it happens, it happens, right? But if I had a son, I would want him, obviously, watch this video. I love you. best thing ever in my life, you know? And obviously I'll make some more videos for my son, my future self. I think it's important to talk to your son, right?
Yeah.
Work hard.
Yeah.
But I would want him to know that he can always come to me for anything, right?
Yeah.
That's another part of me. It's a part of me.
Mm.
And I don't understand how people can live their life and not be there for their child. It's mind-boggling. Why are you not there for them? That's like a part of you, right? You can really make this child into Superman. You can make him to this like awesome, fantastic person, and then in return, they're gonna be your best friend.
I see. What if he comes up to you and doesn't agree with the whole being manhood part, and he's more on the left side, and he's like, well, I think everyone should be free and there's no structure to the society, and believes in communism. How would you advise him? Be like, okay, this is wrong, this is right, or would you just lash out at him and just make him learn a hard lesson? Like, what's your approach?
I think as men, we learn more through the pain and the suffering that we've gone through to make these decisions. But I also I believe, that's why we have these scriptures, right? I'm sure in your book, the book that you read, right, the special book, and my book too, there's lessons of people that have lived, back in Bible times, people lived for 200, 300 years. You know, Methuselah lived for 1,000 years. Moses was like 300 years old, somewhere around that. And they've gone through what we've gone through. You're 21 years old. I'm 33. We think that we've gone through a lot. But in reality, let's wait till we get to 300, right? Or 400 or 500 years old. Then we've had all this experience. But the point is, we can find other men, whether it's in this lifetime or in the past, that have gone through these things, and look at their history, their ups and downs, what they've gone through, and they made it out okay. So I think looking at history and finding the right men, hey, this is what's going to happen. If you do this, if you see this person, or if you go down that road, here are the possible scenarios. Maybe it's not 100% set in stone, but here's A, B, C. One of the things that are going to happen, if you drive and you're drinking, either you're going to get pulled over, you get in an accident and die, or you're going to come home and have a bad headache. Right? So those are your options. So I think telling your children this is going to happen and being firm upon it, that's the best outcome. But as far as, let's say they're going to go this way, I think, one, I'm not doing my job as a father. Right? Then there you go. There's the accountability. If my child is going to be left wing and dye their hair purple and, do all this stuff, I think that I'm not doing my job as a father. So I'm always going to do my job for my children. So I don't think that's going to be an issue.
Good. There you go, talking about confidence. Like sometimes you just know and you believe in yourself, as you said, and that's not the vision you have for your family. So kudos to that one. And I don't know how you're going to take this one. What's something you healed from, but that you never talked about in publicly?
Healed. My ribs, probably. My shoulders,
Yeah. But like in life, like could be 10, 15 years ago, anything you like experience you went through that built your character?
I think losing people, I think that's the biggest thing. Right? And you realize that no one really cares as much as they need to, right? So, for example, like my uncle passed away, or my grandmother passed away, and we're going there, and she was in this Mercedes, and she actually gave me a Cadillac, my first car. See, it's important. She loved me, right? Out of all her grandchildren, I was the one that got her car, because I was always there for her. Anyways, remember during like the last days, we put her in this facility, but we seen her every day. It wasn't like old folks home. It was like the end of her days, and I didn't have control over it. It was my great grandmother, so the family were doing certain things behind the scenes, but I always made sure to see her. So me and my brother went down there, and no one was there. And I'm like, why is anyone here? And I was young though. I must have been like 17. I was really young. So I remember walking in there, and at this point, my great grandmother, she looked at me and she only spoke Spanish. And she's like, Mijo. Well, she looked at me and she's like, oh, handsome man. And she like grabbed my arm. I said, no, I'm your grandson,
Yeah.
right? But I remember being with her, and that was the last time I saw her. So going through these things, even like losing her or losing my uncle, I never really like went through pain or cried ever. Even, I've gone through things recently. I'm like, is something wrong with me? Right?
Yeah.
But I think I've held these things so deep within me that I don't want no one seeing or knowing. Right? And so I went through some emotional stuff with that. Even like we had a dog named Humphrey, and like Humphrey Bogart. But truth story, brought him in. He had a pillow, started humping the pillow. We called him Humphrey. There you go. Right? But he passed away, and I'm like, oh, this dog, like, I love this dog. He's like 13, 14 years old. And passed away. I was kind of numb to loss, because you see it in movies, like, oh, this person died, funeral, sad, life goes on. And as a child, I'm sure you lost people too in your life.
Yes. I just lost my grandma 2 days ago.
See?
Yeah.
And you haven't even told me about that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but it's like, just need to get life goes on. You need to.
No,
do
what I'm
you need to
saying
do.
is that what I've learned is sometimes people process things differently.
Yeah.
Right? So it might take you a week, and maybe you'll start feeling a certain way. Right?
Yeah.
So when my dog passed away, I remember I was like, okay, it passed away. I'm sad, whatever. We kept working like you. And then a couple weeks go by, I came home, and I was like, no one was home. It was by myself.
Yeah.
We had this long 2-story built house on the top of the stairs. He would stay there. And I came in my work clothes, and I sat on the couch, and I was like, Humphrey. I just started saying his name because he would come down.
Yeah.
And then it started like just, water kept coming, and I was like, sometimes you have to actually go through. Everyone takes certain time to process things.
Yeah.
But I've learned to be super grateful for what I have. Family, I'm alive. You, my friends.
Yeah.
So going through these traumatic experiences is learning to be grateful, right?
Righty. Well, this segment with Ty that I specially designed in a way where it brings maximum value to the people listening. Well, Ty, how would you separate cold approach versus, let's say, dating apps? Like, why is one bad or why is one good? Like, either one of them. And do these things have their pros and cons? And what would you say to people watching, like, how they should approach if they're trying to find love of their life or they're just trying to socialize? How should they see these two things and separate themselves?
So, obviously, my opinion is different from, because you can come at it from both ways.
Yeah.
Right? It's what you want. Do you want something that's, vapious, spur of the moment? Do you want a friendship, or do you want something long term?
Yeah.
Right? So I think a lot of these, in my opinion, like online dating apps are, in general, not meant for long term. However, my brother actually met someone online on one of the dating apps.
Yeah.
He's with someone for about 9 years, long time.
Yeah.
Met someone online, dated for 5 months, and got engaged.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Right? So it all comes down to the person, but I would say the quality, the chance of you meeting someone of this stature or higher caliber,
Yeah.
in general, is not going to be on these dating apps. It's a tool, right, for certain things you can do. That's what I'm going to help you guys with, but it's what you want. So if you want something casual, want someone like this, or something long term, just understand that these applications have a breaking point,
Yeah.
right? So I think the better applications to use would be like Instagram or Facebook, things that are more I can see who you are, your family, your real person. But meeting someone in person is obviously the best. Generally, people meet people like, oh, I met you through my friend, my cousin at a social events.
Yeah.
But we don't live in like huts anymore.
Yeah.
We don't live in little huts. We don't live. The reason why people get afraid with approaching people is because back in the day, people lived in these communities, and you had the chief, and you had, the men, and the women, the children, and it wasn't a big population. Maybe, for example, about years ago, 100 people here in this little village, and if you were to go approach someone, either the chance of you getting stoned or killed is a high probability.
Yes.
So imagine you're in this little hut, and you have your wife or your girl, someone who's a little nervous, but they get the courage to talk to this person, talks to her, and you're like, oh, you come over here, boom, 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 kill the guy, bash him, right?
Yeah.
He's gone.
Yeah.
But now we live in this world where we have, obviously laws, or it's a big world. Now you can drive. Now you can go over here. No more horse.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you've been army. The king has his daughter in the castle. Like, hey, I'll be back, babe. You ride on horseback for 5 days, fight in the army, and then come back. Yeah. Hopefully she waits for you. I hope she waits for you, right?
Hopefully, yeah.
I fought all these people, and now I'm back. I was gone for weeks. Do you love me? Oh, love you, baby. Now you can drive. You can fly. So it's a big world. So I think it's a key. It's a very useful tool to be online and meeting people. That's how, most people meet online.
Yeah.
And I think you can pinpoint the things that you want, the attributes you want. I want this, and that. And then you can look online and find someone that fits a general description. But meeting someone in person, it's still possible. You can still go to certain functions, etc. But maybe they're in a relationship with you, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm taking. Cool. And then people get that feeling of, oh man, like,
rejection.
Okay,
yeah.
rejection.
Yeah.
But I also think rejection, taking L's if you're on a right path, it's healthy. Like if you box someone, you might not win every fight, but you can win most of them and learn from it. So I think
it builds character one way or the other.
Exactly.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
And especially, how do you help men? Like, because cold approach, yes, that's one thing. I mean, I've talked to you behind the scenes a lot of times, and you've told me, like, okay, how you should view cold approach as, like, if you are doing this, and back then it was my thing. And now you also do image consulting. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say that I'm just teaching guys how to cold approach. I think my primary business is image consulting, whether it's for business, social, or dating, right? And I think I'm here to build you from the ground zero.
Correct.
You guys seen that movie, Crazy Stupid Love? Yeah, Ryan Gosling, and he has Steve Carell, and he talks to Steve Carell. He's like, Steve Carell is wearing like a regular shirt and some sneakers. He's like, are you the CEO of Apple? He's like, no. He's like, then why are you wearing these? He throws his shoes off the building. Yeah. Right? So my job is to just shine a light and magnify those awesome qualities. And whether that's for business, meeting people. I helped one of the guys, Joaquin.
Correct.
He wasn't looking for dating. He's already happily married. Yeah. Right? And so my goal is, okay, what is it you're trying to accomplish? He wants to work on his business. So he came to me. We went to the marina, went on my boat, my yacht, took some photos, and we got more comfortable talking about what he wants. And he went from 0 to 100.
Wow.
And he looks fantastic. But his goal was for his business. So it wasn't necessarily for dating. But if you can magnify these certain qualities, you can show who your authentic self. So if you really like Star Wars, whatever, right? You can take some photos, but have the Death Star in the background. But no, don't be playing with your Legos, right? Still show off who you are in photos or videos because we live in a social online world.
Online world, yeah.
But show it in a more subtle way.
Hmm.
For example, if you have your, it's who you want to attract, right? If you are going for specifically for business, then yeah, have some photos of you in your vehicle. Open the car door so they know that you own it. If you want it for dating, then I would probably have it in the background, right in the corner, your car in the corner. I wouldn't have it too much in front because if you're to come off online as too overly confident or too dominant that way.
Why is it important, even like for dating and like business world? Like, why do people need a social profile? Like, what are they missing out if they don't have one?
I think they're missing out on opportunity, right? That's the biggest thing. And my job is to make you pretty much more attractive in all these realms. There was a study at Harvard talked about how people that are better looking, whether that's dressing up, looking good, you can have someone that goes to school and maybe they're not a Chad, but they dress up nice and they're really well kempt. They work out. A guy that's in general doesn't have the right facial structure, maybe he's like a 2 or 3. He works out, gets the right clothes. He can easily be an 8 out of 10, right? And then from there he can work on that fine niche. But people in school at Harvard, they're saying that people that were generally more attractive in appearance, clothes, etc., they were approached more by the teacher. The teacher actually gave them more favor versus someone that was sloppy or not appealing or attractive. Yeah. So you're putting your best foot forward, the saying goes, it applies for everything, for work, for jobs, for meeting people, meeting friends. Imagine if I came and I was wearing sweats the first time we met, even though thankfully, I work out, but still the perception of
correct,
right?
Correct.
If I was wearing sweats that were overly baggy, they wouldn't fit. Or I had my suit and it was like missing, I had a big old hole here. Yeah. Even though it may have been an accident or whatever, still first impression. So first impression definitely counts, right? Your handshake, things like that. So I teach you all those things. Body language, how to talk slow, how to use the microphone.
How many red flags are okay if she's a 10?
Respectfully, no one's a 10.
Right? Why is that?
Because we're not perfect.
Yeah.
If you're perfect, right? Yeah. Like Adam and Eve, they're perfect essentially before they sinned. If you're God, okay, you're perfect. Yeah. God's perfect. Yeah. People aren't perfect.
Well, let's say if she's like a...
You need to throw away, not you, but like in general people, you need to throw away that mentality. She's perfect. He's perfect. You can feel over time in your heart their qualities. That makes them a awesome, fantastic person. I could never live without them.
What would make a partner, a true relationship, a girlfriend, a wife, the true best fit for a relationship? Like, not for you, but like for a relationship in order to move forward, like in your perspective.
Well, everyone's different, but I would say there are some core qualities, core things that people should keep in mind.
Correct.
Right? You want your peace. Again, everyone's different, right? So my viewpoint may come across a little, toxic, right? But I think in general, you want peace, you want a healthy relationship, you want to, we go through too much pain as it is already. Don't you want to be happy with the person you're with? Don't you want to go to bed? Yeah. Be like, wow, this person is so amazing. Like with my partner, like my girl. I go to bed and I'm just like, she's there with me. And sometimes there's things for myself, like I want that person to, touch my face, whatever. And she does it without me asking. Right? Yeah. So I'm like, okay, like there's another thing too, as far as we're on the same wavelength. So obviously you have to give instruction for certain things. Like this, I don't like this. This going that's not going that way. Here are the boundaries. But I think when you're meeting someone, being on the same wavelength is super important. And I think that comes naturally with chemistry.
Correct.
Right? But if you can find that and you can feel that, before I didn't think that like telepathy was real, but I don't know. I think it's pretty real.
Whatever you can think of is real.
Yeah.
That's my perception. Maybe it's not been accomplished, but doesn't mean it's not real. You never know. But yes, I totally get what you mean.
Yeah. Stumped you, huh?
How would you define and how would you tell like the audience watching how to not be desperate, especially in the dating market with girls and like tell some psychology about girls, spit some game, like how men have it wrong, especially today.
Well, you know what's funny? I've never really read a psychology book. I've never even taken a psychology class.
Yeah, but you're the man of
Right.
experience, right? Like,
Yeah, so rephrase your question again?
how would you define desperation among young men and how they have it all wrong? Like, oh, they're exposed and they're told by these movies, like Disney movies, or this perception of what a boyfriend or what a mate, a partner should look like, but they have it all wrong. It's all flip side, other way around.
Well, I think it all comes back to what you want as a man and what you truly believe in if you want to live that lifestyle. I think the desperation, why is that even part of your vocabulary? Right? If you describe, I think looking at that word, open the dictionary, desperate, desperation, what kind of image comes to your mind? For me, it's like someone in the water and they're like, help. They're like asking for help.
Yeah.
So why do you want to be desperate for? You know, you can be searching for someone, you can be searching for something. For example, like looking for work, right? You be calm, collected. Maybe you don't have enough money for next month's rent. You be desperate looking for work. But I feel that if you're in the water and you can't swim, for example, if you're in quicksand, right? It's better to be calm and collected than swim around and being desperate and then you start sinking.
Sinking, yes.
But if you can get that word out of your head, just keep doing the work, and then before you know it, you're out of the quicksand, you got a job, you met that person, boom, you're good.
Oh, I see. What's the wildest DM you've ever received, and did you reply?
From you. Like, can you
Oh,
come on?
really?
Can you come
Really?
on this podcast?
Oh, really?
Can you come on this podcast? Yeah,
No.
that was it. Yeah, it's from you. It was a smooth voice memo. Yeah. Speaking of voice memos, super underrated.
Oh, I was gonna come back to that. Like, would you prefer text over voice or other way around?
So I enjoy voice memos. I do them all the time. With me and my girl, I'm always sending her voice memos.
Yeah.
You know, even with you, like on Telegram, like video or voice memo. I think it comes off way more impactful. For example, let's say someone's texting you. You're texting a girl, right? And she texts you, blah, blah, blah. It's more impactful for you to send a voice memo. So you know what? Here we go. Click. Hey, you know, that was very insightful. I can't believe you thought of that. You know, I think that's awesome. And then you give your point of view. Boom, send it. It's way better than saying, cool. What are you doing? Right?
Yeah.
So, and over time, you can also hear your voice. You hear your voice, listen to it, get better at it. But I think voice memos are super impactful. And it also teach you to speak slower and to give emphasis where it's needed.
Understandable. So next time you're texting or you're starting up a conversation, die be a woman, a business partner, a friend, a mate, an enemy, whoever you're talking to, send a voice note because there's also study done on that. They're highly likely to respond to your message if it was just a text message.
Two things. One, what would you send your enemy if you had to send a voice note?
But depends if I am.
Let's say you're James Bond and the bad guys are gonna get you. You probably send a voice memo to Dr. Evil or something like that. So you can't catch me, something like that.
I'd send. I know all the secrets.
Ooh, you're gonna keep them trembling in their boots.
Yeah, they're like, oh, what does he know? I'm like, okay, well, I guess what I know is what I know. It's my business now. And
like that.
whatever you're trying to hide. Because he's a man to me. Obviously, he's not going to show his cards. But what if I already know his cards?
Like that. You keep him guessing. That's good.
That's what James Bond will do.
The second part is when I'm sending you something, a voice memo, it's like a present. Like I talk into this little, do my voice memo, put my voice in this box.
Yeah.
Here's my present. You can't really see what's inside the box. You have to open it up.
Yes.
Right? So I think it's super impactful to do that for conversations, etc. We're all busy. My phone's, over there on Do Not Disturb.
Yeah.
But if you get a text message, it's like, hey, what are you doing? I'm not gonna read it. But if you get a voice message, you're like, oh, what are they saying?
What is it? Yeah, right? And it's not very common, and it's like a pattern disruptor. Everyone's texting you. You see hundreds and hundreds of emails in your email box, and you're like, oh fuck, I have to read all of them. But if it's a voice memo, you're like, never happened. Like it doesn't happen very often. And that's another one. Who lies more, men or women?
Trans people.
But if you have to pick one,
I think that women lie all the time, but men definitely tell like the most extravagant lies. But in the end, it's all a game.
Yeah.
Right? Like I said, you be playful, but still be sincere. Withhold that information until you're ready. But to answer your question, I think that's a pretty good general statement.
Yeah.
Right? Because why do they call it makeup?
Yeah.
They have to make up for something. Right?
Makes sense.
I love women, love my parents, love my girlfriend.
Yeah.
But initially, you're already putting something out there, right? And then men, when they talk about, oh yeah, I'm the CEO, this and that. So, in general, men usually lie about bigger things, and then women just lie about some small things here and there. But yeah, honesty is the best policy.
Be honest. How would you define, as now you're talking about like, we have women and men like in their own ways. Why would you think that? Actually, I'll switch my question up. I'll change it up. What's your perspective on pickup artists? Or do you think you should be yourself and be genuine and upfront about who you are? Because usually there's a quirky and a cheesy way, like pickup lines, to come off when you get to know someone. And there's another man who is just like, hi, how you doing? Who's likely to get more response?
I think, to answer your question, the person that has something prepared, right? And I think rewards come to the one that's prepared. There's some quote, right?
Yeah.
Bravery. Someone that's prepared is going to actually win in the end, right? Making sure that they have everything ready for Armageddon, whatever, right? But I think pickup artists as a whole, I don't think it's a really lucrative way to live your life.
Yeah.
I think having certain phrases, like when you meet like a potential employer or boss, like ask their name, be polite, things like that. Having a certain structure is important. But for relationships, pickup artists, there's actually a clip, if you've seen it, it's with John Hamm, the guy who was in Don Draper from Mad Men, and it was on Black Mirror, right? So he was a pickup artist, but he did everything behind the scenes on a computer. So he would have the gentleman, his client, like a nerd, and he had an earpiece.
Yeah.
And so he was telling him everything to do. Go walk here, talk to this person, talk to that person, know what to say. And at the end of that situation, he met this girl, the client, and he was able to get with her, but the client actually ended up, going away. And so John Hamm closed the thing. He's like, oh no, like his client, that happened. Because the moral story is that you need to be yourself, right? Having certain scripts, I still believe the whole thing about fairy tales, like growing up, you think about fairy tales. Oh yeah, I meet Prince Charming, I meet my girl. It's still very real. You can still have a fairy tale with your girl. You can still have it. With my girl, like I love her and I can pick her up and twirl her around. You can still be Prince Charming.
Yeah.
Right. So why
But-
would you want to have these pre-written things that you told someone? For
Yeah.
me, in my life,
Yeah.
when I have my children, when I'm reading the book to them, I'm like, oh, Dad, what'd you tell Mommy when you guys met, or when you guys this and that? And I'm gonna tell him or her, all of them, right? This is what I told your mom.
Whatever she needed to hear.
Right? No, I knew what I said. It was something that was genuine,
Yeah.
right? And I remember, so stuff like this, you can't make up. It just comes from the heart,
Yeah.
right? So I remember I was with her, and we were walking, got some ice cream. We had dinner first, and we got some ice cream. And this is just, it was so organic. It was all just chemistry. And I seen this like Santa Claus, right? It was during Christmas time, and he was out there like that. And there's another like lounge area. So let's go over here real quick. And I said, "Oh, Santa Claus has a mistletoe." He didn't have mistletoe, right? But I just said whatever I was thinking, because I wanted to kiss this girl.
Yeah.
And we came and we had a wonderful first kiss, and that was organic. And to this day, I'll always remember it. So I'm gonna tell my kids when they ask, when they're of age, right?
Yeah,
I'll tell them what happened.
Yeah.
But you don't want to have pre-written things as a pickup artist.
Be genuine and short.
Be genuine,
Yeah.
right? Because that memory is gonna last a lifetime.
Yeah. I see. Well, Ty, we had some great conversations. We come to the podcast last and final segment, which is the Stallions Rapid Fire. So, alrighty, let's go. So you just have to reply in one word, like if you give you two options.
One word, okay.
Yeah.
Like yes or no.
This or that. This or that. Simple as that. So
do I get a call line? Can I call someone?
Nah.
Do not pass go.
Let's see. Are you ready? How are you feeling about it?
You can ask them if they're pretty intense. I'll be silent. I'll think about it like a King Solomon.
I see. Wisdom. Love or lust?
Love.
Text or voice note?
Voice note.
Yeah.
Voice note.
Yeah. Toxic or boring?
Oh boy, toxic. I know it's bad, but
Yeah.
there you go. That's my answer.
Yeah. Forever or for now?
Forever.
Yeah. Alpha or lone wolf?
Alpha.
Masculine or mysterious?
I had to choose one or the other. Masculine.
Masculine.
Yeah.
I see. If you had to take your significant other out, would it be, and like things got out of hand, would you say Netflix? Would you prefer a Netflix date or like backseat of the car and the sunset?
Yeah, do something memorable. Backseat of a car. Yeah, or my truck. Right?
Yeah.
What's coming?
Leave on red. Okay, you're pissed off. You need to teach.
I'm angry.
Yeah, you're angry.
I'm seething with anger.
Someone's acting up.
See, I'm turning green.
Yeah. The Hulk's coming out.
Yeah.
It's gonna come out after this question.
Oh boy.
You're getting mad. You're getting pissed off. You're like, I need to teach my other a lesson, or whoever it could be. So, would you leave them on red or leave them shaking?
Boy. At this point,
you're mad. It's justified. I mean, something happened, and you have every reason to.
Well,
act.
I'm outspoken, right?
Okay.
So sometimes I'll leave someone on red, but if it's serious, shaking. But it doesn't have to be physical. It can be your stature.
Face card or game card, if you had to pick one.
Face card or game card?
Yeah. Like, would you have a good face and you're like, oh, you just have good looks to himself, but no game? Or he has game. He's finesser, James Bond, smooth, but no face card.
Image consulting, face card.
Face card. There you go. That's how you do it. Okay. Batman or Superman?
Come on, Superman.
Clark Kent. There you go. Makes sense. I'm like, no man I have ever talked to picks Superman.
I have to. Yeah. Trey probably picked Batman, huh?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Or he picked Robin.
Sidekick. Oh. All right. Well, we're getting to the end of it. Would you say die for your brother or die proving a point?
Number one, die for my brother. I think proving a point is meant for a higher power.
Gotcha. If you had your children, let's say boys for this example, would you have them with a silver spoon in their mouths, or would you let them start and do their own thing and start from nothing?
Number one, yeah, I think you can afford the best education, the best teachers, the best coaches, but you still have to discipline them a certain way, right? You can still train them and be harsh on them, but you don't need them to go through what you've gone through. That's the whole point, right?
Yeah.
I'll be different with my daughters and my sons. My daughters, I'm going to put in the council. Whatever you want, pony, there you go, boom.
Yeah.
The son, it's like, oh, can I get this toy? What'd you do? You push-ups? What'd you do? Right? So, but 100% the first one.
First one.
Yeah, because I think it's a job as a man to give them things that you didn't have. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I have questions for you too.
Oh, okay, well, we can get there.
Yeah.
In 20 years from now, if you had to pick up a title of a movie that's your own biopic, what would you name it?
My own biopic. Oh. Tie Forever.
Tie Forever.
Tie Forever.
Why that title?
I'm gonna keep going, man. I'm gonna keep doing. Keep pushing, keep fighting.
Would you keep it your last name alive forever?
I like Tie Forever.
Tie Forever.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay. Well, I guess Ty, we're done with the Stallion's rapid fire. So let's hear what you have for me.
Yeah, well, I don't have an iPad like you, so let me just think of some things to say. I think number one, do you think that because you grew up in a pretty, nice lifestyle, your parents worked hard. Do you feel that people view you differently because of the way you are now?
People don't know the full story. I grew up in a combined family house income of $150 a month from a third world country, and you guys have no clue what I'm talking about. So my dad and my mom both are working, and my mom was a teacher. Dad was obviously a doctor. But again, when they're getting started out, the place I'm from, you're just not getting paid. Even though if you work for the government, it's $150 somehow. And we live all in one bedroom, one kitchen, and one living room for 11 years.
Wow. Have you expressed this to the audience on your channel?
No one knows.
I think you need to dive deep. I think we need to have an interview. We'll all interview like this, but we're going to talk about stuff, put some pictures on here about you growing up because, see, I didn't even know that, right? Yeah. I had a feeling, right, because you come across as dominant, but you don't come across as super arrogant. You're a pretty humble person. Right? I can feel that when I shake your hand, when we give each other a hug. But yeah, stuff like that. I think people need to know where you came from because that kind of propelled you in person you are today. I think so. Maybe if you have a podcast of your own one day, I'll come on and we'll express my story. But yeah, people like making long story short, $150 a month coming from that, living all in the same household, and most of that income would be spent on sending me and my brother to school, rent. And then you have groceries and then other miscellaneous items, and that's about it. And people think about like, oh, flashiness, see his IG, the fucking, wow, it comes from money, like all of that. No, it's all that I've been striving for since I was a kid. Me and my brother, you'll eventually meet him. He'll be here very soon. Oh, cool.
In about 2-3 weeks, and I'll bring him around. And you definitely see two brothers always trying to talk to each other about how the hell we can get out of this shithole. And the dream is right there, and you're like right under the darkness, and you're like, how can I get myself and my family out of here? But with God's grace, stars aligning with my family, somehow we were able to come to the land of opportunity we call America. And all we had and all we knew, me and my family, was how to work hard and honest. Work hard with honesty, and that's about it. Because that's what we've been doing for 11, 12 years. Somehow, after 17 or 18 years of my parents' marriage, we were finally able to come to this land and put in the hard work in our various different ways, in various different echelons. And I think eventually, if you work hard enough, results will show off.
And two more. So that's number two.
Yeah.
How many kids do you want?
How many kids I want? I don't have a number, but as much as I possibly could pop out, because even though, as you were mentioning, as we were talking about, like, how stars align, right? I had strangers, men, old men, like 70s, 65. Like, I have an 87-year-old come up to me out of in public, and they just come in and tap my shoulder. They're like, hey, like, you're so tall. Like, that's the first thing people notice about yourself. Like, yeah, thank you very much. Just make sure your bloodline's strong, as in have more and more kids and boys, and you should spread this gift of your physicality. That's one, and from talking to you, you have some wisdom to yourself. So make sure it doesn't go unseen. That stuck with me, and that hasn't happened multiple occasions with strangers. So as many as they can pop out, as for sure. I'm aiming towards like 11, 12.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then where do you see this podcast going in like 5-10 years?
Wherever people decide they can take me. I can do and put the best honest work that I can and provide entertainment, value, and knowledge to our listeners. But at the end of the day, people are the true champions. And if they allow me, and then if they see Stallion, the brand, the name itself, and me worthy enough to become one of the biggest, then I shall be.
I think so. Yeah, you have my support. I think that you're going to go a long way, because even though you're so brash, but you're so authentic. And I can see it. I can see it through videos. I can see it in person. I think you're going to go a long way.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you for having me.
Thank you for your support. And I really wish this goes out and people learn from you, and tell people where they can find you, like Instagram and like your services and so on and so forth.
Yeah, again, Instagram at Clark Kent Wears Glasses. I know it's a little long, but you'll find me.
Yeah.
And then my website is instagq.com, and we can talk again later on about all the services I offer.
Yeah, let's do it. I'll have it right in the description. Go follow him. Come on, guys. Like, you think you know it all, you think you have it all figured out, you wouldn't be watching this. You wouldn't be listening to this. Come here and do what you're supposed to do with Stallion Confidential. All of you know what to do. All of you, actually, wait. All of you know what to do. All of you know how you can support a channel. Subscribe, like, comment. Even if you didn't like the video, tell me why. Tell us why. Tell me and my team so we can work on and actually give you guys the content that no one else is. So this is it for Stallion Confidential and our guest, Tyler Vasquez. Thank you very much.